Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. In our first story, a pair of roommates with a valid disabled parking placard pull into a Walmart Blue Line space only to be ambushed inside by an irate shopper convinced they were judging her own handicap spot. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Lady screams at us in Walmart because we looked at her cane 30 minutes earlier. I have a weird story about handicap spaces and the mart of walls. My best friend / roommate is like you and has had a knee replacement, but also has lupus and has the placard because she can't walk far at all. We parked in a marked spot and noticed that the car across from us is occupied by an older woman whose car also has a placard. She's sitting there in the driver's seat with her door open. There's a cart by her car that's empty except for a cane. We got out of the car and I looked at the cart and remarked to my friend that I hoped the lady hadn't forgot that her cane was in the cart. My friend glanced over and said she agreed. I even thought about getting it and handing it to the woman, just so she wouldn't need to get out of her car. But we didn't know if she was leaving or had maybe put her cane in the cart to save it and hadn't shopped yet. We go in the store. My friend gets her motorized buggy. We do our thing. After about half an hour, we check out, and both of us stop at the restroom in the front before leaving. I went first, then waited with our merchandise while friend had her turn. Suddenly, just as my friend was coming out of the restroom slowly with her cane, this older woman appears and starts screaming, "I have a placard. I can park there." We look at each other, totally going, WTF? The lady continues to yell about how she's handicapped and she has every right to park there and how we're horrible people, even calling my friend a few bad names and referencing my friend's size. My friend's going, "What are you talking about?" This woman was on a tirade, and now everyone up front is staring at us. I tried to de-escalate by telling the woman that we are clueless about what she's yelling about and that she's mistaken. That just made her yell louder. My friend's trying to get out of the restroom opening, but this woman kind of had her trapped, and by this point I was getting worried that crazy lady was going to start getting physical. Finally, a CSM comes over to try to get things calmed down, but crazy lady just goes on and on about how we must be prejudiced about handicapped people, and how my friend must have said something horrible about her, and how my friend was just fat and didn't need a motorized scooter. An assistant manager showed up, told the lady to please exit the store, and said something about how they would watch the tapes from the camera, which was like, again, WTF, because we were the ones who were ambushed. Crazy lady left, but continued to yell all the way to the door. The manager talked to us for a few minutes, and we explained the whole thing. It dawned on us as we were explaining that we didn't understand what the hell was going on, that she must have been the one in that car, and because we glanced at her and her cart with the cane in it, she thought we were talking crap about her. Crazy lady was paranoid. This is what happens when somebody completely invents a conflict in their own head and then drags innocent people into it. What really stinks is that all three people in this fiasco share the same struggle: limited mobility. Instead of solidarity, you get paranoia so intense it borders on self-sabotage. And our second story. I got treated like dirt at my elite university because I didn't dress like a rich kid. I wasn't really top of my class in high school, which was some small average school, but I was smart enough to get into a top-tier university in my country. Now, this place was a huge culture shift for me. Granted, I met some brilliant, kind people who are still my friends 6 or 7 years later, but I also encountered lots of privileged rich kids who were probably just legacy admissions. This happened in my freshman year. I'm not from a poor family, but compared to some of these kids, I may as well be. I didn't really care about the way I dressed before. My university doesn't have a very formal dress code. You can show up in a t-shirt or something like that, so long as you aren't showing so much skin, and if the shirt doesn't have any profanity or vulgarity. So naturally, I would wear a lot of t-shirts and leggings. They're cheap and comfortable. Now a lot of other students wear nicer things, branded shirts, polos, khakis, and loafers, that sort of look. I had a lot of unpleasant encounters with a certain type of student, if you know what I mean. Months after orientation, when I was heading to class in my joggers and a university t-shirt, coffee in hand, some wild dude bro in my parents are rich outfit literally runs into me from behind. Like, how do you not see someone in front of you? As he ran into my back, I spilled my coffee all over my clothes. He sees this, he slows down, takes one look at me, and keeps going his merry way. He even shot me a look like I was inconveniencing him for some reason. Another time in the university parking lot, I witnessed some other entitled student in his brand new Audi straight up run over another student's foot and just drive off. But now for the I don't work here story. One day me and some friends, were at the mall next to the university. We were in one of those specialty sports shops that sells expensive jerseys and sports equipment when this other random student, he was wearing his ID card, sprints over to me and just suddenly starts talking to me. I'm really introverted, so this took me aback. He was in the stereotypical "my dad is rich" outfit, branded polo, khaki shorts, and loafers. He's asking if the shirt he has in his hands is original and if the price is final. I just say, I guess so. He made a face like, that doesn't sound convincing. He then asks if they have any other sizes and where he can change. Then it clicks in my head. I don't know, man. You have to ask someone else. I don't work here. He seemed surprised and made another disgruntled face and just walked away. No apology or further contact. I think that was the first time I began to realize that how you dress really affects the way people treat you. I don't know exactly how to describe it. He wasn't overtly angry or rude when he talked to me, but he just sounded so bored and uninterested, like he was only giving me half attention and speaking to me was some sort of chore. It was really demeaning. The scowls and angry looks are just icing on the cake. I mean, these small encounters added up in my head, and I tried wearing slightly more presentable clothes by my second year. I mean, I know that all those anecdotes I shared are the fault of entitled brats, but I was just so sick of seeing it and having it happen to me. I mean, to this day, I worry about how I dress because of those students. I graduated 2 years ago, but these freshman encounters still affect the way I see myself. Maybe I'm being sensitive, but the messed up part is dressing well actually did solve the problem. There were times I'd be mistaken for a professor. I worked as a research assistant in my spare time, so maybe some of those students thought I was prof because I hung out with profs and did some professor work. When people would bump into me, they'd apologize. It sucks how people treat you based on the way you dress. I hate this mentality because I don't really care for nice things. There was a time I used to because of university culture, but that mentality is so tiring. And I don't know how people can enjoy it. I just try to look presentable now. Nothing fancy, but I still randomly get anxiety that someone will literally run over my foot, verbally berate me, or laugh at me in public. This last one also happened in freshman year, but I don't want to share the whole story because they think they're rich enough to do so. It's exhausting. And our last story. Karen, the lawsuit queen, finally met her match. I live in a quiet suburb in North Carolina where most folks mow their lawns, wave at each other, and argue only with squirrels that raid their bird feeders. But there was one woman who broke that peaceful balance. Her name was Karen. Well, officially Melissa Jane Reed, but the whole town knew her as Karen with a capital K. She didn't just act like a Karen, she made a living off it. She had a system. Slip on a wet tile in a restaurant, lawsuit. Her dog barked at another, emotional distress claim. Ducks ignored her at the park, legal complaint against the city for psychological harm. She never had a real job. Settlements, compensations, insurance payouts, and pretrial agreements funded her Pilates, her acrylic nails, and her ever-growing legal bills until she went after the wrong guy. The beginning of the end. One sunny August morning, Karen decided she needed a little bike fitness to clear her head before suing the owner of a car wash because their hose had splashed her designer sandals, which, let's be honest, were clearance knockoffs. She rode her bicycle through a local path and somehow managed to fall right in front of the house of Mr. Grayson Wallace, owner of the law firm Wallace, Grayson, and Predators at Law. Instead of brushing off the fall and moving on, Karen whipped out her iPhone 13 Pro Max and began recording. "This is clear evidence. See, the sidewalk is uneven. The lawn is improperly trimmed. This is criminal negligence. I'm suing. The problem was the sidewalk belonged to the city. The lawn was mowed better than the White House's. Grayson Wallace was calmly drinking coffee on his porch and saw everything. That's when the fun began. The legal shark says, "Let's play." Grayson wasn't just a lawyer, he was a shark who eats other sharks for breakfast. His firm had defended the city, local law enforcement, and even a theme park once sued for emotional trauma from too much fun on the carousel. So when Karen sent him a formal lawsuit notice claiming personal injury caused by negligent landscaping, he didn't flinch. Instead, he retrieved security footage from 3 angles, hired an expert to analyze the condition of the lawn and pavement, brought in a certified cycling coach who concluded that Karen had been riding with an open latte in one hand and her phone in the other, not touching the handlebars at all. Karen wasn't just facing defeat, she was barreling full speed into catastrophe, completely unaware of what lay ahead. Court Day 1. Judge Linda Wright, a no-nonsense woman whose gaze could melt steel, presided over the case. When Karen began her theatrical monologue about how her fall destroyed her self-esteem, career, and glamorous eyebrows, the judge raised one brow in silence. Grayson, calm as a frozen lake, presented security footage with slow-motion replays, expert reports, Apple Watch data showing Karen's activity, coffee in one hand, TikTok in the other, no hands on the bike. The judge dismissed the case in 12 minutes. But it didn't end there. The counterattack. Grayson filed a counter lawsuit for malicious prosecution and defamation. The judge didn't hesitate. Karen was ordered to pay $72,000 in legal fees, reputational damages, and punitive costs. She was banned from filing new lawsuits without a psychiatric review for the next 3 years. Her bicycle was confiscated as a tool used in the commission of fraud. Karen was in shock. She had never lost before. Her high heels trembled. But you know what made it even better? You know how Karen lost her house? That's even funnier. While all this was going on, Karen was also involved in another legal battle, this time with her own husband, Bill. She was suing him to gain full ownership of a second house they'd bought together as a summer getaway. Why? She saw him sitting in a cafe with her friend Cindy. Karen screamed, "Infidelity!" and filed a lawsuit despite the fact that she had personally sent Bill to that cafe saying she needed some quiet time. Cindy was a lesbian and Karen's college best friend. Bill was just showing Cindy a new puzzle game on his tablet, but Karen filed the suit anyway because she was Karen. This time, Bill hired, that's right, Grayson Wallace. Imagine her face when she walked into court and saw the same man who'd cost her $72,000 and her entire legal reputation. Grayson presented footage of Karen waving Bill out the door saying, "Tell Cindy I want that salad too." Text between Karen and Cindy where Karen wrote, "Bill thinks I'm mad, but I just want to hit him in court one last time." A dating profile Karen had made a week earlier stating emotionally divorced, legally almost free. Same judge, Linda Wright, presided. She dismissed the case, stating that Karen's actions were clearly malicious and manipulative. She ruled in Bill's favor. But here's the kicker. Karen had used her primary residence as collateral for legal expenses during the first case, convinced she'd win. So after losing the second lawsuit, the court placed a lien on her home, and it was seized and auctioned to pay off the debts. Karen lost her main house, the vacation house, her bike, her lawsuit business, her best friend Cindy, who, in a hilarious twist, later moved in with Bill. And the ending, Karen now lives in a rented apartment with 2 cats named Misfortune and Grayson. She's occasionally seen in the supermarket, eyeing the tile floor by the coffee machine and walking away. Moral of the story? Never sue the owner of a law firm if your entire business model is fall and sue, because one day you'll fall and stay down. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.